Well, hello.
Take care of yourself, okay?
And welcome back.
I promise to write to you when I can.
Thanks. I wish all of you the best too.
To this Trails of Cold Steel 2 Let's Play. The ending. Let's see this.
Although, to be honest, I get the feeling we'll meet again before long.
So do I.
Besides, the Empire is smaller to us than it is to most people.
Yeah, if I use Lammy, I could be anywhere in no time.
This isn't goodbye as much as it is see you again soon.
I would believe all of this.
In the meantime, we all have our share of duties to fulfill.
Yep. But as soon as they're done, well, you know.
Of course. Here's hoping our time apart treats every single one of us well.
Mm-hmm.
And just look at those lino flowers bloom.
This is truly a season of new beginnings. I suppose I might miss this scenery.
You will. They're all going to miss Rean. I like how half of them have got new get-ups and half don't.
Okay, what's up with you guys?
Instructor?
For all that you've done for us this past year, thank you very much.
Ooh.
We wouldn't be here ready to start a new stage in our lives were it not for you.
Your teaching methods may have seemed unorthodox or even unreasonable at times, but it's hard to argue with the results.
I would say she didn't do that much. But that's just me.
We thought it was only right to take the time and thank you before we said goodbye.
Sorry if you heard any pickup there.
So, we decided to surprise you.
Still, given the opportunity, I would be happy to learn more from you someday.
Mm-hmm.
You kids are just... Oh, now look what you've done. I was planning on being all cool and mature until the very end. I was doing so well, too.
I don't know about that.
You lost sight of both cool and mature a long
Yeah, very long time ago.
Looks like our surprise was an A+ success.
I think we might have gone a little overboard, actually.
Maybe all this was a little too cruel, Emma.
It certainly seems that way. But I thought it would have been derelict of me as class president if we didn't do anything.
What are you doing?
Oh, so this was your idea, was it?
What have we got her?
And it begins. What a wonderful way to bring everything to a close.
I don't think it's close to being to a close, to be honest. We're going to see some shit in this episode. Then I got to watch the back records. But hey ho. I hope this is recording. Okay, we've got there. If it just ends with nothing at the end, I'll do the black records in this episode. The Legend of Heroes, Trails of Cold Steel 2. Cast. Cheers, Sean Chiplock. Hirschfeld's a great surname. Lucian is obviously a great name. We all know that I love Marisha Ray. There's a critical role, which means that we're going to get some other people. We'll see Edward Bosco as Machinist Regnitz. Strober, what a weird name. Diskin Man. Cassandra Lee Morris is also a strong-ass name. I don't know loads of these people. Kaji Tang. I feel like I know who he is. I think I would know his face. Ashley Birch. Also feel like I realize I know that person's face in my head. Charger Tom Lee. That's also a very solid name. Carrie Karenin? We're just getting the cast. This. Are we getting a different FMV? Development members. So we're going to see elements of people working. We can see the Rhinefoods in the background. Sarah and Alyssa, obviously. I do like that look for Alyssa, by the way. The little combat jacket, it's nice. Macias working in the House of the Craigs. Doing their darndest. Practicing with a seemingly okay Victor Arciad is Laura, or Viscount Victor S. Arciad. Arcade. Gaius back at home in the Nord Highlands. These performers, shout out to you for the music. Boom. Where is Emma? Maybe back with the Hexen clan. Alberea doing his Eusis doing his best governing of the region. Thea on the search of the others' efforts with Tofel and Sarah. Now, are these things that are going to happen, we're going to see play in Cold Steel 3, or are they going to be separate things? That's the question, really. Milliam with Altina and Sarah back to the intelligence. I want to be a quality assurance tester. Please, Exceed Games. Can I be your UK one? Alyssa Copley, Carl Nylander, Brittany Avery, Maya Akuno, Rean, with everyone here at the academy. Please, Shinjiki Suzaki, I would like a job. You'll never see this, but that's fine. That 50 mirror, please. Oh. What a nice way to end it. But I don't believe it until I see the starting animations again. Thank you for playing Legends of Trails Cold Steel 2. But while this game may be over, Erebonia's story is only just beginning. Here we go. We're going to save here. Memories mode now unlocked, which is cool. Let's have a quick look at that. Okay, so we have got some stuff here. Okay, so once you've got the blah blah blah, we see all of this. Okay. Movies. Opening movie. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to watch the Black Record stuff now, but I'll come back to you in a second when I'm at that stage ready to watch it and I'll react. But I'll see you guys in a sec. Right, I found this. We've got the start of this. Basically, I appreciate I could see for you doing what you could. So, it seems like Thomas Lysander, you give me a copy of all 5 books now. Just tracking down the set is quite an achievement. Okay. All 5? Did I not mention this before? In total, 5 albums of the Black Records are known to exist. Okay. Pretty sure I would have remembered that if you said it before. My apologies then. I should have told you earlier. Sorry, I'm going to keep this here because I usually use my spacebar to pause, so I can't do that on this, obviously. So I'm just going to use this. I mean, well, unknown to 5 or more scholars, you're likely, but these 5 are all you're likely to turn up. Thank you for bringing me all these. I'm going to working to see if I can decode the rest of them. Okay, so he evidently asked you to do some of this. There will become a day when you can read the contents in their entirety. It's stupid that they put this behind the black, like a second playthrough. Good luck. Oh, please do. I'd like to have this. Just a little remember of something fascinating. I'll give you something thanks for all these fascinating books. Yo, I'll take a Zerum capsule in my fake universe. Thanks. Okay. Here we are. Why, hello, Rean. So this is the last day of the school. How did your studying? I'd be more than happy to help you if you're having any sort of trouble. Thanks for the offer, but I think I'll be alright. I've got Machias and Emma's support system keeping me on the ball. If the offer extends to the next year, though, I'm sure I'll be taking you up on it then. By means, nothing makes me happier than lending a student a hand in need, of course. Oh, and by the way, pretty much finished decoding those Black Records you gave me. As much as it pains me, you can take them off my hands. Can I read them? You have. Decoding report. Okay, let's read this. There is some fascinating stuff in there, or if I do say so myself, be sure to look them over if you have the time. Right. Okay, I'm getting ready because I will want to read these properly. Can you move the academic years comes code? I should have to see you for a big old party, wouldn't you? Yeah, I think you're onto something. Pretty curious about the report he just gave me. Me too. I'll look over it when I get back to the dorm. Come to think of it, I've still got to read the reports the Black Records Instructor Thomas gave me. Maybe I should give them a read now before bed. Okay. Okay. Let's see if I can keep up with it. In the beginning, there were 2 great gods. One boasted unrivaled courage, the other unparalleled fortitude. They descended from the heavens with their kin. It was upon the dark land below where they first met. Okay, it's playing. I'm just reading it very fast. Calamity. Their opposing natures incompatible. The 2 were drawn irresistibly into battle. Thus began a struggle that shook heaven and earth. The goddess and the spirits' laments were for naught. As the land quaked, the skies were torn asunder. Interesting. There's 2 big forces, and the gods' kin could only tremble in fear. For what they seemed like an eternity, their clash came to an end. but it was the end of a mutual defeat. Their power spent, empty shells of 2 celestial titans were flung into the far reaches of the dark. Makes sense? Darkland. All that remained in their wake were terrible scars on the land, their kin, and the great power. We heard, obviously, with Lucifare, the great power was mentioned. The Dark Dragon. 200 years after Heimdallr was first founded, Rean rose on monstrous wings from the depths of the earth. Its name was Zora Algara, the Dark Dragon, a malevolent creature of terrible power. It spread a miasma through the capital and turned Heimdallr into a city of the dead. But the horrors did not end there. The evil dragon desecrated the corpses of the fallen, taking control of their bodies and using them to attack those who remained alive, further increasing the legions of the dead. Stuff we've heard before. Okay, so he had zombie powers, necromancer dragon. The emperor at the time, Astorius II, was forced to flee the city with what remained of his household and citizens. Together they retreated south and established a new capital in the land of Saint Arc. Through hundreds of years and 6 more emperors, the bane of Heimdallr went unchallenged. It was the 7th Hector I who resolved to recapture the city. Time proved an ally to the beast, however, the dragon's influence had spread over the surrounding area like a plague. Undaunted, Hector led an army of brave knights into the necropolis, I love that, in an attempt to free it, but though. Cool, so we're getting some deep Erebonian history. We, of course, have met a dragon in the Sky series. Their hearts were steadfast. Their arrival was met by legions of powerful fiends. Their efforts seemed doomed to end in failure. It was then that Hector I had a fateful encounter with none other than the great Vermilion Knight, Testarossa. The knight recognized Hector as its master and bolstered it by its immense power and countless weapons. The Emperor moved again onto the city, onto the decisive encounter with the Dark Dragon. Interesting. The battle shook the city to its core, and in the end, the Vermilion Knight was victorious. The scourge of Heimdallr, the Dark Dragon... Heimdallr is what that sounds like, Heimdallr. The Dark Dragon was defeated. However, the price of victory was steep. The corrupted blood that flowed from the dragon claimed Hector's life and defiled even the knight itself, placing a curse upon it. The noble Testarossa became the Crimson Calamity, a demon with 1,000 weapons that only reacts to the blood of the Arnor family. A destructive force on par with the Dark Dragon. Should control of it ever be lost, would threaten the world and all who live in it. It was sealed deep underground, never intended to see the light of day. Meanwhile, a new city rose from the ashes of the old, and people once again began to gather in Heimdallr. That was when the Vermilion capital that endures to this day was first built. Okay, so it rose from a dead person's army. Okay, the War of the Lions begins. In year 947, Emperor Valius V passed away. His death heralded the beginning of the largest-scale civil war in Erebonian history. Valius was a ruler with somewhat debaucherous reputation, and is said to have had countless wives and concubines. To further complicate the matter of succession, many of those wives who came from prestigious noble families, all of whom began competing for power and wanted their offspring to take the throne. Within the days of Valius V's death, Crown Prince Manfred, the son of his first wife, was assassinated by an unknown party. Following the death of the Crown Prince, the fourth prince and son of the first Emperor Valius, secondary wives, Prince Orathoris, seized the capital by force. Once in control, he declared himself a new emperor and began purging all those who dared to oppose him. The coup set off a succession of counterclaims, and 3 other princes also named themselves to be the new emperor. Backed by the noble families of their mothers, the competing princes ignited a bloody 5-year-long civil war. Thus, the War of the Lions began. This is stuff we kind of already know, right? At first, the princes' armies were largely unequal in terms of strength. It wasn't until Orpheus, who would have later become known as the False Emperor, revived the being that had long been sealed under the city, the balance of power shifted. The Testarossa, the legendary Vermilion Knight, now tainted by the blood of Zora Agora, saw the light of day once more. With its unmatched strength under its control, Orpheus decimated its greatest competition in one fell swoop, and the 5th prince, Gunnar, was defeated. The trap rapper Gunnar. No. It seemed inevitable that the armies of other princes would share the same fate, but if it was this pivotal point in the war took yet another surprising turn, the unexpected development came in the form of another great knight, the Palinate Knight. The famed champion was acquired by Prince Lucius, the sixth and youngest of the feuding brothers, and with its power he was able to defeat the army of the brilliant strategist and second Prince Albert. Victorious and backed by the knight's power, Prince Lucius was poised to challenge Orthoros. Prince Gunnar and Albert's armies, however... Next page, please. Were not completely wiped out and decided to join forces with one another in order to oppose the other princes. It was thus that the war became one fought by three separate groups: Prince Orpheus with the Vermilion Knight, Lucius with the Palatine Knight, and Gunnar and Princes Gunnar and Albert, who had no knight but compensated with their sheer numbers. The War of the Lions had been raging for 2 years now. The chaos only worsened by the day. Erebonia seemed fated to fall to ruin and darkness, fitting, perhaps, for a nation that takes its name from Erebos. Drykel takes up arms. A young man lays on a grassy plain enjoying a nap in a peaceful setting. Before long, however, his rest was interrupted by the arrival of a second young man on horseback. The youth wore trappings of a knight, and his expression was deathly serious. His armour bore many rents and scratches. His left arm was bound in a bloody bandage. The first young man had not seen him in several years, but a cheerful reunion did not seem to be his purpose. "You were right after all," the second man gravely said. "At this rate, the Empire's days are numbered." We know the young man is probably Drykel's, we say Arnor. At first, this young man rose from the grass. He was none other than the third prince of the Erebonia Empire, Prince Drykel's. A man with no claim for his throne, due to his commoner mother, and shunned by the other high-born princes, Drykel's had long since left Erebonia behind, wandering from place to place, and willing away his days. Shout out to the person who uploaded this, by the way. I'll give the name of the bottom. 3 years prior, he had reached the land of Nord, where he had remained ever since. Though left to his own devices since childhood, his nature was noble, and was quickly accepted by the people of Nord, and lived peacefully among them. While he had left his homeland, he had not truly abandoned it in his heart. During his wanderings, his mother had passed away, but while she lived, she told him something that would remain with him for the rest of his days. The blood flowing through you will not allow you to turn your back on the Empire's suffering. Prince Drykel had turned those words over his head again and again. What could a powerless vagrant like himself truly hope to do? The knight's arrival, however, signified two things: the war that continued to worsen, and that Erebonia was on a certain path to ruination. His mother was probably correct. Hearing the knight's words, he decided that enough was enough. He could ignore the pain of his countrymen no longer. That knight, incidentally, was called Roland. He was a childhood friend of Drykel's and his confidant. He was also the man who Drykel's had left in charge of things in his place before leaving the country. Drykel set about preparing to depart. Before he could finish, he was met by several tall knights of Nord, their cross-shaped spears in hand. They too were close friends of Drykel's. They volunteered to accompany him and Roland, fearing the two men alone would not stand a chance. The next morning, the prince departed from the village, a mere 70 men under his command. They bade farewell to the people of the settlement. Zelda wished them well. "May the winds and the goddess be with you," he blessed them. "Fortune favour you all." Interesting. For people asking what Erebos is, I was looking it up, that's why I was a little bit late. It's the personification of darkness in Greek deities. Anyway, Priest Drykel's opponents were the armies of the fourth prince, Orthos and his Vermilion Knight, the sixth prince Lucius and his Palatine Knight, and combined forces with the remaining princes Gunnar and Albert, who had a legion of magical golems under their control. Yet it was he, the illegitimate son of a commoner and newcomer to the war, who emerged triumphant. His victory did not come without losses, however. During his return to Erebonia, Roland fell in battle. Not long after that, he met a woman who would change his destiny forever. The woman was none other than a daughter of Count Sandelot, who hailed from the lakeside town of Legram. Charismatic personality and peerless skills with the lance earned her the leadership band of knights. Known as the Einsritter, the moniker, the Lance Maiden, her name was Leanne Sandelot. This we know already. Prince Drykos and Leanne Sandelot may have come from wildly different backgrounds, but the concern for the innocent victims of the war united them in a purpose to bring an end to the bloodshed. It was for those shared feelings that made them join forces. The two of them, along with the warriors of Nord, the Eisenritter, and other peoples from the nations whose hearts they had moved, liberated one town after another, eventually successfully persuading even Prince Lucius, owner of the Palatinate Knight, to fight for their cause. At the same time, however, the false Emperor schemed to elevate the cursed Vermilion Knight to even greater power, to godhood, and thus the Vermilion Apocalypse was created. The demonic god emerged from Heimdallr alongside a monstrous castle that vanquished the approaching armies of Albert and Gunnar in single battle. The end was anything but conventional, however. They were simply erased from existence. Even the Palatine Knight could not contend with such a foe was felled, and it was as it decimated all who challenged the false emperor. The countless crimson spirit veins spread out from the castle, stealing the very life from the capital citizens, as well as those in the surrounding area. Defeat seemed all but inevitable for Prince Drykos and the Lance Maiden, and their followers, but they refused to give up. Following the guidance of a kindly witch, they were led to a new great knight which slumbered on the outskirts of Heimdallr. After overcoming the trial, they were able to claim the Ashen with its power. With that in hand, many of the supporters in the armies of Prince Lucius, they marched to the capital for the final time, eventually making their way to the castle at its centre. 3 days later, on the 4th of July, year 1952, the castle vanished from existence and the city was liberated. Interesting. So we're learning a little bit about the god and about the Vermilion Apocalypse and why it came so bad. A little bit about the bloodlines. All very, very interesting stuff, I think. Erebonia is named Erebus, is the personification of darkness in one of the primordial deities from Greek mythology. It's one of the first 5 beings of existence. Interesting. Anyway, carry on. So, for some reason, my video thing cut out recording. So I've already seen this, but I've got to stitch it onto the end of the video, so I'll do that now. Let's go ahead and react to this. I know.
My! Who would have imagined even more marvelous mysteries still lurked within the old schoolhouse?
I'm sorry you're not getting
What
my
a
shock.
delight. Why, I can hardly stop myself from heading in there to take a little peek.
That might not be the best idea right now. There's no telling what could happen in there.
Yeah, I'm gonna suggest you take a hard pass on that.
You'll see.
Oh, come now, I was only kidding. I wouldn't dream of rushing in to steal the thrill of discovery for myself. But, all joking aside, I take it you finished reading those deciphered passages from the black records I gave you, Rean?
We certainly did.
Huh?
Deciphered?
Well, sure, I looked through them, but why do you ask? And what's Rosine doing here anyway?
So I did actually call this before it happened in the last recording.
Questions, so many questions. Please, allow me to elucidate.
And I called it mainly because Racine was there, but I did not realise until that. But he certainly is a sneaky little man.
What's going on? This is just like when I called out to Valimar that first time.
To put it simply, I've created a partition of sorts. The 3 of us standing here within are the only ones who can even sense it. Meanwhile, those outside remain blissfully unaware of its existence. I'll admit, for a moment there, I was worried that Emma and Celine might have noticed something amiss, but it seems I've still got the touch.
He certainly does.
Just who the hell are you? And you too, Rosine.
So
Why
they
are
are
you wearing your habit all of a sudden?
a squire.
Starting off with the basics, I see. Perfectly fine by me. Who the hell am I, indeed? My formal ties are to the Septian Church, as a member of the Gralsritter.
Which we called.
Second among the Dominion, in fact.
Means he's
I
fucking
stand at the
strong.
right hand of our leader, and am known by some as the Partitioner. But you already know my real name, of course. I've never hidden that from you. I am and shall always be Thomas Lysander.
He's just a very powerful knight.
I'm a squire, tasked with supporting him in the execution of his duties. You could say I'm an apprentice knight of the Gralsritter.
What? Hold on. What? The Gralsritter? Do they have something to do with the Congregation for the Sacraments Scarlet was talking about?
They certainly do.
That they do, Rean. We're a secret sect of the Congregation, an unseen face. Our organization's existence isn't known to the wider world, nor should it be.
It's kind of like an Ouroboros of god
Our
people.
primary purpose is to gather and seal away dangerous artifacts. But every once in a blue moon, it becomes necessary to undertake covert operations like this one.
I guess I shouldn't be surprised. To be honest, I felt like there was something off about you for a while now.
Yeah, he's way
You were
more
able to
strong.
decipher the Black Records for one. And your knowledge and abilities go way beyond the average instructors.
The other instructors
Even
can't
still,
tell.
I never would have guessed you were connected to something this large scale.
Apart from maybe Nightheart.
And with all that in mind, what do you want with me? Why tell me all of this now? Have you finally decided to step out from the shadows and interfere?
That's not quite it.
Perish the thought, Rean. What happens in the old schoolhouse is out of our jurisdiction. Always has been.
Indeed.
The way things stand brings to mind a few parallels with Liberal's Phantasma trouble, but I doubt this is nearly as dangerous. After we're done here, I'll be glad to let you tackle that on your own. Me, I'm only here for a little talk with you. After all, you are an Awakener, possessor of a fragment of the Great Power. And that means we have matters to discuss.
So this is obviously going to come quite
surprise,
big
but the
part.
trouble facing this land is far from over. Now, it may seem to have passed for now. But this peace is merely a simple respite. The most crucial moment stands silent in the wings, waiting to unfurl before us. The Chancellor never stops spinning his webs, and while he may have repelled Ouroboros for now, they will be back. Mark my words.
I think almost undoubtedly.
And there's not a doubt in my mind that you'll have an important role to play in what's to come. That's why I thought it would be worthwhile to make a formal introduction and ask for your cooperation. So, what say you?
So the church is coming out to Rean, asking him...
Sir, if I may, you might want to ease him into this a little more gently. It's quite a lot to take in at once. Rean, I want you to know we're not here to scare you or to make an enemy of you. We don't mean to pressure you into a response either. For now, our intent is just to remain here and keep an eye on things. So if there's ever anything you need our help with, we're here for you. Just ask and we'll do whatever we can.
Which I'm guessing this is what comes up in
Thanks,
Cold
Rosie.
Steel 3. Add along.
You're right, too. This is a lot to take in at once. I'm not really sure how to respond. I guess at the very least, I can tell you're not my enemies. But by the same token, that doesn't necessarily make you my allies either. So, no promises.
A neutral party, which is probably what they're going for.
I understand completely, Rean. And for the time being, that's perfectly fine. But to return to an earlier topic, those black records you found are actually of particular interest as historical artifacts. As far as I can tell, their purpose was to record the true history of the Divine Knights. Given that recovering artifacts like those is our job, well, if you happen to find any more, do pass them along to us.
And I'm guessing this is what's going to happen in Cold
I'll
Steel
give
3.
you transcripts of everything I can decipher, of course. Given what you've read so far, I'm sure you must be curious.
I'll give it some thought.
And with that, we say, I hope you've enjoyed this Let's Play. I'm not going to do Cold Steel 3 right away. I'll do it after another game that I play. I haven't decided what yet. But yeah, peace and love. Hope you guys are having a great time. See you next time.